I met someone at a party who believed that Jesus Christ was a good man, but not the Son of God. I asked her what religion she was. She said Unitarian. I said, I see. So you believe in the Bible, but you don't believe everything in it? She said, yes, I'm accepting of it. Okay, but Jesus is not the Son of God? She again politely says no, and I quickly reply, you've read it. She says, yes, all the time, but you didn't come across the part where Jesus claims to be in God and God in him and says that he is God? She said that nowhere in the Bible does Jesus say that he is God. That's called ignorance. Man's nature, always wanting things the way we want it. She lied. Why? Because she wanted to be right. She wants what she wants. All in all is all about us. What we want, not God, not the God of the Bible at least. So to a all-in-all believer, this find obviously gives them something to think about. And I hope they do take the time, and I'm here to help in any way I can. The other thing is that it isn't physically possible for all in all to technically be God, if that is the way of thinking. The reason is that God has no number. He is infinite. And all in all suggests parts. It has parts. It's a combination of things. The famous scientist Stephen Hawking believes that he may have found the source of reality. I have to disagree. What he found was the parts that hold reality together. The simple way to know is that energy and time, these so-called constants, are measurable, which means they have parts. If you look at the numerical system, everything comes from one point with negatives to the left and positives to the right, creating a perfect everlasting balance that holds itself together. That center point, though, is 0, and it's the only number that is descriptive of God or the source of reality. Infinite means having no count. Everlasting has count and beginning but no end. Infinite is a total different creature that we cannot and will not be able to comprehend or even see because we exist and process thought inside of reality. God does not process thought, period. He created thought. He created numbers and count, and he made a fingerprint through Christ when he did so. And sometime during the medieval times, a time of witchcraft and mysticism, magic, and the blueprint, the fingerprint, was labeled Metatron's cube. Moving on from the all-in-all believers, and I'm sorry, I kind of rambled on there. But anyways, what about the atheist and Tom Cruise types? Matt Damon, for instance. First of all, has any one of them ever actually read it? Has any one of them read the Bible? I have many friends who do not believe that there is a God at all. Almost all of them say that they have read the Bible. They also seem to think that the Bible says that the universe was created about 6,000 years ago. I'm going to read from the very beginning of the Bible now, Genesis chapter 1, and you tell me what you think after hearing this. Chapter 1, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. We've all heard that. Here's the second line. The earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was moving over the surface of the waters. Let's hear that one more time. The earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was moving over the surface of the waters. You mean to tell me that before the 6 days of creation, the earth was a rock covered in water? Yes, that is what it's saying. And we don't know for how long either. It could be millions or billions of years old. Verse 3, then God said, let there be light, and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and there was evening and there was morning one day. Then God said, let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters. God made the expanse and separated the waters which were below the expanse from the waters which were above the expanse, and it was so. That's called an atmosphere. God called the expanse heaven, and there was evening and there was morning a second day. Then God said, let the waters below the heavens be gathered into one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the gathering of the waters he called seas, and God saw that it was good. So let's get this straight here. The earth is possibly billions of years old and was covered in water at one time. We don't know for how long. Then God created light. This is around 6,000 years ago. Then God created light, or the sun, and set the earth and sun in motion so that we would have day and night. Then God directed the heat from the sun to give us an atmosphere, and the waters were parted so that dry land would appear. That sounds pretty scientific to me. We now have a sufficient situation to support life on earth. So I suppose that if an atheist took interest in this finding of the blueprint in the Bible, that they might feel compelled to at least read the first two verses and would, if they are open to finding truth, see that their former beliefs about the Bible were not even accurate at all. Lies, lies, lies. I should bring up moon dust for fun, though. Why not? The next group is the Islamic group, and there's a lot of history behind Muhammad and the Quran, however you want to say it, and the Bible. A lot of hatred towards the Bible from this group. I don't really think a Muslim would be too affected by this finding, but I hope they would treat it like anything else and pursue it for the hope of finding truth, or at least just for the knowledge. I'm not going to get my hopes up too much, though. Another group is, ones with false teachings around the Bible, such as, I hate to say it, such as Jehovah's Witness. Again, I hope people will just look at the book for what it is and stay out of any denomination, and especially cult, which is what Jehovah's Witness is oftenly and I believe accurately called. There are many groups that have added their own things to the Bible. Of course, the Catholic Church even adds things to the Bible. Imagine that. Men trying to get between you and God in order to have power over you. Not just Jehovah's Witness and Mormon, but there are many, many small cult-like groups. And I mean cults. Let's call it what it is. They are all over YouTube. Just look around. I don't believe the findings of Metatron's cube and the Bible does anything significant for them. In this case, I think that the lost will stay lost unless God draws them. Here's an interesting group, though. And I'm trying to hit all of them, but I'm trying to do this quickly because there's other things I want to talk about. So another group is Satanists. They are openly anti-Christ. I might get into this a little more later, a little bit later in time, but right now I think I would just be getting off subject, and I honestly don't know a whole lot about Satanists at this time. So I've read into it a little bit, and all I found was hatred. So, but the last group is the Christian community. What does this mean for Christians? I'm a Christian. It's my belief that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. I do believe in the Bible, and I think because I am a Christian and I have seen these patterns, to me, it just gives me a chance to say, I told you so. I'm making jokes, but technically, I mean, you're looking at something that it's absolute perfection, and it's a design, part of reality, whether you want to deny it or not. But if this one little thing here God uses to bring the smallest group of people closer to Him, then I say it's worth looking into. And sadly, though, I think a lot of Christians will literally skim right over this, and I mean even a lot of pastors and everybody. But I hope that most of the Christians will at least, if they hear about it, take the time to think about it. Because a lot of people just found a new reason to read the Bible, and I say good for them. And I'll do what I can to help you understand it, but I can't help all of you all the time. But if you really want to have somebody explain in depth what many things mean in the Bible, I say check out John MacArthur at www.gty.org, and you can download tons of audio clips just like this one, and stay tuned for